we eat has sugar. But even with that, almost everything we eat has too much sugar. So up here, I have my PowerPoint presentation going on, but you can't really see it in this video, so I definitely recommend pulling it up so that you can follow along with these pictures, because I have some pretty cool visuals for us. Moving on with that, my name is Allison Wiggins, and my research into the too much sugar in food has led me to some staggering statistics that I'd like to share with you guys today. So what has become of our everyday food is the first question I looked at, and the things that I came across were soda, chips, and other pre-packaged food. Things that used to be looked at as treats or desserts are no longer looked at as treats. They've become the norm, and people eat stuff like this every single day. For example, 1 can of Coke has 39 grams of sugar. And as you can see in this visual that I have here, 1 can of Coke is about 9.5 teaspoons. A bottle of Coke is about 16 teaspoons, and a normal bottle of Coke is about 27.25 teaspoons, which is very shocking because, as I say on my next slide, how much sugar should the average human have? According to the American Heart Association, men should have about 9 teaspoons of sugar, and women should have about 16 teaspoons of sugar. And as you remember from the previous slide, or from what I just said, a small can of Coke already has 9 teaspoons of sugar. So basically, a woman would be having too much if she had a can of Coke, and a man would be at his complete limit for the sugar of the day if he had 1 can of Coke. So it's clear, according to the American Heart Association, that humans are eating way too much sugar. But my next question is, how can we lower the amount of sugar that people are eating? So that led me into some more research, and according to an article published by the Harvard School of Health, the prime offender in too much sugar is soda. So according to this, soft drinks are coming under scrutiny for their contributions to the development of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic conditions. Sugar-sweetened beverages are less filling than the solid forms, causing people to feel hungry even with such a high caloric value. With this, there's weight gain with no actual nutrition getting added into the body. So we're gaining fat without gaining any muscle or any other helpful things to our body. But my next question was, why has this grown from, let's say, 50 years ago? Sugar was not as big of a problem as it's become today, like obesity and other problems. The first thing that I'd like to say is the agricultural and industrial revolutions have made it much easier for people to transport food, keep food longer, and add preservatives to food that make it last longer so that people can get cheaper, easier food. And also, secondly, is the media, because the media has noticed that people are trying to want to eat healthier, so they promote this sort of easy foods, like you see commercials all the time for foods that are not necessarily healthy. And according to the Union of Concerned Scientists, the media should publicly call out sugar interest misstatements. So in other words, these sugar interests, or otherwise these big companies that sell food like this, send out misinformation after misinformation after misinformation just to get people to buy more food from their company. So some attempted solutions by these companies, companies have caught on to people wanting to make healthier decisions and have created products for them to seem healthier. And when you go to the store, you're always going to see something low fat or diet or whatever else you call it. But Brooke Alpert, a registered dietitian and author of The Sugar Detox, tells us that artificial sweeteners have a more intense flavor than real sugar, so over time they dull our senses to naturally sweet foods like fruit. Also, artificial sweeteners still have the same effect as sugar, so they trigger insulin in the body, which puts your body into weight gain, saving mode, which leads to weight gain. My proposed solution, rather than eating these diet or so-called healthy prepackaged foods, is to eat whole, not processed food, to buy locally, and to shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Brittany Chin encourages whole foods that are nutrient-dense rather than processed foods that are energy-dense. And to give you the difference between these two types of foods, energy-dense has a very high caloric value with a very low nutrient value. In other words, it's going to make you gain weight without actually giving you the nutrients your body needs. And nutrient-dense food is something that's going to be lower in calories, but it has a whole bunch of nutrients. For example, something that is energy-dense would be like a granola bar that's been pre-packaged and processed and has all of these different chemicals and stuff in it. And something that nutrient-dense is going to be a whole food like an apple or a vegetable or something of that sort. So to go back to this, my proposed solution is to eat whole food, not processed. So something that hasn't undergone a chemical reaction or hasn't been added preservatives to make it last longer. To buy locally, because then you know that your food has not had to travel that far to get to your plate. Therefore, it's going to have less preservatives and less chemicals to keep it looking fresh and tasting fresh longer. And to shop the perimeter of the grocery store, because the perimeter of the grocery store is where you're going to have fruits, vegetables, and meats. All of the things that your body actually needs to survive, rather than things that just fill up our bellies. So, just to bring it back to the start, 1 can of Coke was 9 teaspoons of sugar, which is the equivalent of 200 grams of strawberries. So you can have 1 small can of Coke or 200 grams of strawberries and get the exact same sugar intake, which is what's causing all these problems for people today. So what I have to say to end this speech is to think before you eat for the health of it. Thank you very much.